I love doing Bumblebee. But let's get real. When are we doing a Beast Wars spinoff?
Transformation!
Yes. No! No! No!
I don't know why Lorenzo D. Bonaventura said they'll consider making a Beast Wars movie after the success of the Bumblebee movie, only for him to say that it's too expensive and obscure to produce. Well, what if I told you there's already an animated Beast Wars movie with robots that turn into animals? Except it's Korean, made by a Korean toy company called Hello Carbot, The Secret of Omphalos Island, and it's G. Toy Rock Content Factory released their first theatrical film of this franchise back in August of 2018. It was a domestic success with its target audience, and in just 5 months, another one was released in the 31st of January, in time for winter vacation. They're available for digital rent or download, but the first 2 movies were also put on DVDs on May of 2019, and oh, literally the only reason I would pay that much is to get exclusive access to English subtitles, something the digital download versions don't have, and its bonus features are nothing to write home about. I don't think it even has a title screen. And this DVD cover is so minimalistic. The back is just 2 stock screen caps with 1 tagline. You would expect a description at least. And Toy Rock gave up translating their website content into awkward English after 2018. So here's my synopsis. The English subtitles are legible and make sense for the most part, but sometimes it gets awkwardly literal. I wasn't expecting hilariously bad Chinese translations, but there are several goofs here and there. It's the dead of winter. The recurring trio of villains are stopped from stealing fuel for the plot, with the unbeknownst help of some classic cameo Carbots who we'll never see again for the rest of the film. Only those who watched the cartoon series will understand why this old clunker has advanced car tech. This feat of heroism earns Chatan's dad a family vacation to the South Pacific. Icebergs and a storm strand them on the titular island, named after a Greek stone navel said to be the center of the world. With the help of the new beast Carbots, they will help Chatan stop the aliens who plan to fry the Earth in order to reclaim it.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
Well, it's certainly more high stakes than the get crap quick scheme of the previous film. You would expect a typical robot show to always have the duty of saving the world. But Hello Carbot is not that kind of robot show. It's an evergreen slice-of-life robot friend fantasy. So it's fitting to save the tired trope of saving the world for a theatrical occasion. Not that it hasn't been done for a TV series, the movie before. But if it's the entire world that's on the line, you know that it can't end with a great big ball of flame. Just saying. Okay, now for the Maximals, I mean Carbots. The only bit of origin given is that they're from the future who traveled back in time in order to prevent the pyro apocalypse that they apparently witnessed. Does this mean that in the future, technology was developed to create Carbots with organic beast modes, or the ability to adapt beast modes, just like the Maximals and Predacons? The descendants of the Autobots and Decepticons who underwent a great upgrade and traveled back in time to Earth so that the Maximals could prevent Megatron and his evil Predacons from destroying mankind and the Autobot ancestors? That's some parallel and coincidence. The Beast Carbots don't have much character depth, but at least they're more involved than the Dinobots. A-Shark? No, not a shark. A-Shark's the brain and the token female, and the supply and demand breakout character. My myth is the strong, gentle one, follows a mood maker.
Start! 자, Omphalos, 공격이요! Sonic Wave!
And Clion's the brave one with a big ego, like the archetype of a lion. It seems superfluous to create another T-Rex character instead of bringing back T-Rexes from the previous movie.
Well, what are you waiting for? Transform! I can't. Of course. You're nothing but a clone.
But I guess Tyrannosaurus's domineering personality warranted for a new character.
남겨주세요 왕 사자라고. 난 공룡의 왕 티라노사우루스야.
I think a certain Dinobot begs to differ. These two always bicker for leadership and dominance, because animal archetypes. I think that's all the kids need, no in-depth personal backstories for why they don't get along. Plus, they can't match the insults of these guys.
Gearhead, I beg to differ, cheese lips. Pre-evolved bird brain, eater of garbage.
And there's a truck. Just a big old truck. Because there just has to be a combiner and temporal-themed character.
원래 크라이언이랑 티라투스 트로코는 한 팀이야.
한 팀? 셋이? 전혀 안 어울리는데 공통점도 없고.
그래, 차탄 말대로 전혀 안 어울리지. 게다가 생각하는 것도 얼마나 다른지 몰라. 처음에는 과거, 현재, 미래를 대표하는 카봇들을 모아서 강력한 합체 카봇 티라이오를 만들기로 했는데.
티라이오?
문제는 맨날 싸운다는 거야. 물론 각자 살던 시대가 다르니까 이해는 되지만 말이야.
결국 티라이오 합체는 실패한 카봇 프로젝트가 돼버렸어.
Then they put aside their differences for the climax. For obvious reasons. But I don't see what sets apart time energy from any other final attack energy. I would like to surmise that these constructs victims and it rewinds their time of existence back to their primordial molecular structure. But you can't tell that to the kids. The human characters are exactly the same as they appear in the cartoon series. I didn't bring up an essential trait of the mom in my previous review because it wasn't prominent there, but in addition to having licenses for almost every known profession, Chundae was always a feisty badass. And that shows with her tirades, improbable aim, acrobatics, and fry panning.
봤지? 내가 얼마나 무서운 여자랑 살고 있는지.
The dad is bumbling and acrophobic, but not incompetent. Two of Chatan's friends joined the trip, but they literally sit out the rest of the movie. Maybe the film would have benefited from more tension if they got kidnapped along with the parents. But safety first. STM line return, but this time they're just pawns for the main antagonists. Commander Benjir and his associates Gujir and Godir. These Asian archetypical octopoid aliens are really nothing new as they've been seen in some episodes of the cartoon. But here they may just be the greatest threat the Carbots have ever faced. But they've gotta get some slapstick. But I must say, the AI alien robots are a good take on the sci-fi neon alien mech design. And that especially goes for the big boss mech,
기간트를 출동시킨다.
or Gigant. It looks like a formidable power suit from some sort of video game. It puts up quite a curb-stomping fight, though knowing the franchise, I doubt even that powerhouse is allowed to inflict any lethal damage to the heroes.
Stingy.
And can do nothing more than incapacitation. Now, about the aliens' plan. It's an on-the-nose message and moral about global warming and environmentalism. Plus, there's probably some who would take offense to the film's implication that the Earth was created not for humans, but for extraterrestrials, and we're an infestation. And nothing says global warming more than drifting icebergs, set up by the aliens which they could have unnaturally created or moved the ones that were there but shouldn't be because it's all our fault. Alarmists will tell you we must eliminate carbon emission and save the planet above all else. But scientists and experts will tell you that climate change is not an existential threat and will not be the definitive utter demise of the Earth. Neither will tentacles. Just be sensible with our given resources and create sensible solutions. At least the film isn't preachy about it. More marketable earworms, I mean soundtracks for the kids. And this time there's 4 of them. The first one is called Tree Leaves, a simply mellow song that introduces an animal's sidekick, as lyrics blow in the wind and in your face. For some reason, they didn't bother subtitling any of the other songs. The second is a tribal and royal sounding song that's very repetitive, with half the lyrics being nothing but 친구들이 오면 why does Chetan have a giant caterpillar flush throughout the whole film? For a Deus Machina moment as the caterpillar flies.
애벌레가 간다. 애벌레가 간다. 애벌레가 간다.
Although I don't think he would have been in real danger unless he was about to hit a rock. Also, how much thermodynamic force does it take to send a little boy hundreds of kilometers from the center of an island all the way to the edge? Finally, there's this victory party cover song. Well, if you wanted to see Transformers play rock, paper, scissors, shake their tushies, and dance with animals, here you go. As catchy as these songs are, I cannot grasp their relevance to the plot or themes. They're just elementary sing-alongs to infatuate the toddlers. Just as with the previous film and the entire franchise, it's a perfectly serviceable, made-for-kids film that happens to be vaguely similar to Transformers Beast Wars on the surface level. Did any kid find this horribly off-model Tyranno and this blank-eyed, stilted walking boy utterly creepy? Maybe don't use bug eyes for a cheap end credits looping animation. And I suppose it's a good jumping-off point for foreigners who would be curious about what this not Transformers franchise is all about. There's only one passing mention to the previous film, so it's not continuity wrecking if you watch them out of order or only this one. And Omphalos is more in line of what Westerners would think of when they see robot Transformers. Battle between forces of good and evil. Cretaceous might not meet their expectations since it's less Transformers and more dinosaurs and crooks in spandex getting their hands on literal crap. But it's still very much a child-directed film that fits in the category of child distractor. So it's a Transformers movie where you don't have to worry about your little kid seeing gruesome deaths and mayhem. If you want to give it a watch, it's available on Google Play and YouTube Movies. Links in the description. Or pay $30 to understand the thing. Unless someone can upload the English subtitles online. As for an actual Paramount Transformers Beast Wars film...
Not today, Cheetor. But someday.
Well then, the Omphalos Island gives a general sense of what an actual Transformers Beast Wars movie should not be.
Well, that's just prime.